What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to Wednesday evening's Anfield Agenda. Late night agenda. Loads to talk about tonight. I know the Reds aren't in action this week, would have been an international break, but we're going to talk about the Champions League squad and who's being left out of it. We're going to try and explain exactly what's happened. We'll take you through the latest around Liverpool's, long time now pursuit of Mark Gay. Will we revisit in January, or will it be at the end of the season? We'll talk about Alexander Isak a little bit and anything else, of course, that you guys would like to discuss. You know the drill. Lash it into the chat and I'll do my best to get there. Sorry, my ear's a bit itchy. This right ear still gives me a bit of a problem. So I hope you're all well. I don't know how an itchy ear and a problem is the same thing, but yeah. Anyway, apologies. So let's get stuck into it tonight, ladies and gents. What do we want to start off with? I want to actually start off with something. Actually, if I can. Say actually again, Craig, because you've only said it about 10 times. So, the comments from the Turkish Football Federation president really wound me up when I read them today. He said, Liverpool is not the old Liverpool. Galatasaray had a good draw. I believe they'll qualify from the group. There is Liverpool, but Liverpool is not the Liverpool of the past. So let me know what you guys think about that one. It's not great. It's rather unnecessary words, I think, as well. But I'd say one thing is for certain. Liverpool are hardly quaking in their boots at the idea of playing Galatasaray, with all due respect to our Turkish opponents. Right, let me say thank you to Paul Donnelly, who became a member. Appreciate you, Paul. Thank you, sir. Kean as well. Let me get Kean's one up. 7 months. Let's go up the Reds. Thank you, Kean. Appreciate you being with us, sir, as a member for 7 months. So, Paul, I was thinking about this just before the stream started, and I'd seen your message go in. It's a very fair question, you know, Paul. Let me run through the team. So Paul said, who in the Champions League squad would you drop for CHIESA? And it's a really difficult question. I mean, I'm going to run you through the squad now in a moment. It is Alisson Becker, Mamardashvili, Woodman, Gomez, Endo, Van Dijk, Canade, Kirkes, Bradley, Leone, Robertson, Frimpong, Wirtz, Soboslai, McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, Isak, Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, and Rio Ngamoa. So, to Paul's question, who in the Champions League squad would you drop out? Probably no one. Do you know what, Paul? It's a difficult decision for Arne Slot, but when I read through and, talking about the homegrown quota and what needs to be there, probably nobody, Paul. It is a decision that I'm sure was a really difficult one for the manager, but a quick glance through, mate, and I don't have an answer. I don't really know of anybody I would drop out of it. I'll take you through exactly what needs to be in each squad in a moment, but great question there from Paul to kick us off. Tipsy Dipsy said, CHIESA must have slots. Nudes, feel for him. Look, again, though, I think what Paul said, Tipsy Dipsy, is a fair question. Who would you leave out? Let me read through what has to be in every Champions League squad so we can start to work backwards from there. Each team can have a maximum of 25 players in their Champions League squad in their A-list, which includes a minimum of 8 places reserved exclusively for what UEFA deems as locally trained or homegrown players. Players trained by their club or another club in the same national association for at least 3 years between the ages of 15 and 21. Liverpool have chosen a squad of 22 players, which includes new signings Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, Gu&eacute, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Giovanni Leone, Mamardashvili and Freddie Woodman. But only 17 non-homegrown players are allowed on the list. CHIESA has failed to make the cut for the opening stages. So what do we think about that? So Liverpool do have a B list, and on that B list is Jadon Danns and Trey Leone. So they're another 2 players that Liverpool can bring up. But to go all the way back to Paul's question, I can't think of anyone that I would move off that list. You can't say Woodman because he'd be counted as homegrown. So he comes into the second part of it. So yeah, to kick us off, Paul, I don't have an answer. There isn't one. I think Arne has probably done the right thing. Frank said Jones and Endo. Well, I guess there's another way to look at this, and that may be, are we going to be short when Mo goes to the AFCON? Now, I was reading a post earlier on, and it said, Salah could be at AFCON for our last 3 Champions League games. 20 times, 20 times on X apparently posted that. Said, don't see Rio starting any of the Champions League fixtures. Going to be a long season for Isak, Ekitike and Gakpo. So when you think about it that way, we've got a forward line that has Rio Ngamoa, Gu&eacute, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak. So they are our options for the Champions League group stages, or league format I should say. And if Salah is going to miss 2 or 3 of those games, it is definitely going to put a burden on the remaining attackers, of which we would only have 4. Rio Engamoa, Cody Gakpo, Alexander Isak and Gu&eacute. So yes, to go back to the original question, I don't have anybody that I'd be able to move off the list. So I probably would have ended up doing the same thing as Arna. But it does kind of show that we are maybe a little bit light there for some of the games in attack. Particularly looking at some of those away trips to Galatasaray as an example right at the very end. So, good question to kick us off tonight, and do let us know in the chat what you would do there if you were in Arna's position. Remembering, of course, that you have to have 8 players, which will be classed as homegrown if you want the full 25 squad, of which we don't have enough. Keith said, "Hi Craig, can we do a poll on Gay? Will we get him on a pre-contract or buy him in January?" We already did that last night, mate. We did exactly that poll last night. We said, what do you think happens? We go back in January, we go back in at the end of the season, or we don't sign him. And it was overwhelmingly, I think it was over 70% anyway, went with sign him in January. Now, I really don't know what the plan is in that front though, Keith, because I'm reading articles. Some people are saying that it's a formality that he'll join in January. Others think Liverpool may revisit at the end of the season. And I think the final decision will probably come down to Mark Gay and what he wants to do. Does he want to disrupt his season midway through to leave Palace in January to come into Liverpool? I don't know the answer to that one. So yeah, that's where I'm at, mate. I do think we will see Mark Gay in a Liverpool shirt, but I really have no idea as to whether it'll be January or the end of the season. Alex Macklin said, what about Jayden Danns? Jayden Danns is on the B list, mate. So Liverpool can include young players on the B list as well, and Trainee Owning and Jayden Danns are included on the B list. So they will be options. Maybe you're saying, what about Danns as in for an attacking option? Yeah, he is an attacking option, as you've said, but we haven't seen much of him, and he hasn't played any minutes for quite a while. So it would be a big leap to throw him in. But as you've rightly pointed out, it is another attacking option for us. Fede has to be playing more Premier League games, said Darwizzy, of which he probably will, mate. You know, the burden is going to have to be shared around on this one. But yeah, I just wanted to kick off with that one tonight because, of course, Paul very kindly put in the super chat asking the question about who would you leave out. And being honest, like I said, don't really have one, Paul. Can't really see anyone there that I would leave out. Jax Vaughn said, we always bring young lads, i.e. Rio, for experience, and he'll come on as a sub more than we think. Probably prove it, providing we're 2-0 up, say, after 70. Look, Rio Engamoa, in my eyes now, is a first-team player. He's one of the 6 attacking options that we have. So I don't really think of him as coming off the bench anymore because, you know, he came in and rightly Liverpool don't want to block the pathway through. Great talent, and I can understand where we're coming from. Ideally, maybe 1 year later would have been perfect, but like I said, I do understand why Liverpool don't want to block his pathway because he looks like an absolutely tremendous talent. So, let's talk for a moment, if we can, about the Anfield Edition post that has caused quite a stir today, right across football. I was even sitting back this evening watching Sky Sports News and shocked to see Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and the Sky Sports News team discussing Anfield Edition's post. If you don't know what post I'm on about, I'll read it out to you now and explain it here. So Anfield Edition posted to say, name a bigger upgrade in football history. Posting image of Luis Diaz and Darwin greyed out with Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz with the new arrivals in colour. And Mohamed Salah quote tweeted it to say, how about we celebrate the great signings without disrespecting the Premier League champions? It is an interesting thought process because it depends, I guess, on how you perceive the Anfield Edition post. Is it a praising of the great business that we've done to bring in Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, or was it maybe a bit of that and a little bit of a dig towards Diaz and Darwin? I don't know the answer to that. Only the person, I guess, that made the post can give you that answer. Certainly for me, if it is the latter, if it's a bit of a dig, and again, not saying it is or isn't, I didn't make the post, but Diaz certainly shouldn't be in that conversation. Luis Diaz was very good during his time at Liverpool. So, you know, like I said, only the person that made that post knows the answer to it, but it certainly caused a bit of a stir in social media anyway. So what do you guys think of it? How do you interpret that post from Anfield Edition? Like I said, I'm not jumping in here and throwing cheap shots around. I don't know what was meant by it. I don't know the intent from it, but certainly caused a reaction today on social anyway. Paul White said Mo's been very vocal lately. I would suggest it's a backhanded compliment, said Lewis Noble. What else we got in the chat? It's a fact though, said Suleiman. I think it's a dig on hindsight, said Sharkovic. Rachel Todd said, I agree with Mo. I mean, look, I understand everyone's perspective on it. I really, really do. It's like I said, if I posted that, I'd be able to tell you what I meant by it, so I'd be able to explain it better. But seeing it's not my post, it's not fair for me to either take a cheap shot or to really go in either way. I do like that Mohamed Salah wants respect shown to players that were part of a title-winning team. I do appreciate that as well. So yeah, I guess it depends how you perceive the original post. James Mahoney said, Craig, I agree with Salah. Fred, Dan, how are you, Fred? Nice to see you in, mate. Said, Craig, do you agree Fede is happy with... Do you think Fede is happy with this decision or not? Fred from Ghana. It's hard to say. Look, I would imagine Fede's disappointed, mate. You know, Champions League football is the pinnacle of European club football. And Fede stayed around this summer and the belief was that he was going to get more game time and more minutes. But I also understand it from the manager's perspective because as Paul asked at the start of the stream, who would you leave out? There's not really anybody there that I would say, yeah, leave this person out for CHIESA. Endo, maybe, at a push. But then again, Arne could be thinking, well, Endo is our only real DM cover. So maybe he's thinking, can't really take that risk either. It's a tough one. It really is. And any suggestions on who you might leave out really would be appreciated in the chat. Craig, what was Gomez's price? I'll get to that one in a minute, Innocent. Don't worry, bro. I got you. Give me 2 seconds and I'll get there. Craig, I think it's a bit early, but who do you think wins the World Cup? Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't got a clue yet. You can never rule out Spain. You can never rule out Argentina again. It depends. Like, let's see what shape they're in when the qualifications are done. Christina Van der Merwe said, apologies were made about the post, Craig. They said sorry, but it wasn't meant as an insult. So, I don't think, from what I seen, they said sorry about the post. I think they said sorry to Mo, as in, sorry, Mo, we disagree with you. I think, Christina, unless, you know, I've misinterpreted that, but from what I'd seen on Sky, because remember, I'm not on X, so I only got sent a screenshot of it, and then I seen it on Sky Sports News. So, from my understanding, it was, sorry, Mo, but, you know, this is our opinion kind of thing. Wesley, how are you, sir? Said, thoughts on the Isak potential legal action against Newcastle / the Telegraph? Hard to say when... I read the article, by the way. I read the article in the Telegraph, the Luke Edwards one. I read it earlier on. It's a very unnecessary thing to say. Let me say that. I think... if I was writing that article, and again, I'm certainly no journalist, but if I was writing that article, I think there are ways that you could have hinted at what you were trying to say, but by coming out so bluntly and saying what they said, you do leave yourself open. You know, I think certainly fair of Universal 22, I think, who are the agency to ask, well, have you got proof of this? Because it is a serious accusation to make, like a player downing tools, basically, or suggesting they're downing tools so as Newcastle don't get Champions League football. It's a very big accusation to make, so I'm surprised that passed the editor, but maybe they felt comfortable with saying it. Maybe they feel like they have enough evidence, is that the right word, or information behind the scenes? I don't know. Would I have written it for Anfield Agenda, or would I have posted it on here? Not a fucking hope. No chance. That's way too vulnerable is probably the word I'm looking for. I wouldn't be doing it. So, on it anyway, what do I think about it? Look, I think if he feels like he's been wronged and his reputation's being questioned, yeah, he's every right to ask for answers on it. You know, will you go the full legal route, or will you just look for a retraction or more information on where they got their information from? Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But look, I'm glad I'm not in Luke Edwards and the Telegraph shoes at this moment in time. Mark Houghton, how are you, Mark? Said the CHIESA situation simply highlights the difficulty with this elite squad depth. I guess there are plenty of other substitution opportunities in the Prem and other trophy hunting adventures. Yeah, that's fair enough as well. Like, we do still have the league, the FA Cup, and the League Cup, mate, as you've said. Naturalist said defamatory. Yep, it certainly is. Look, his reputation has been, or his sincerity, his, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, moral standards, his work standards, it has been questioned, at the very least, yes. But again, it just feels so unnecessary, doesn't it? Like, is it worth writing that piece and putting that bit in there? Is it worth the pushback? What's the upside of it? When you're doing any of these type of calculations on these type of big ticket things, you do ask yourself, firstly, well, what's the upside of this? If this goes the way we think, what's the best outcome? And then, of course, you play out the worst outcome. I don't know what the thought processes were from the Telegraph, but again, feels like a very unnecessary thing to write. Doesn't change anything, does it? Newcastle did qualify for the Champions League. They did win the League Cup. Isak did score plenty of goals, and now he's a Liverpool player. So it just, again, feels a bit like sour grapes, doesn't it? On a very one-sided projection of this situation. Mr. H and Friends said, evening, Craig and Reds. The story about Gu&eacute driving like an idiot fake news. I haven't got a clue. I don't even know the story to which you're speaking about, in all honesty, mate. I hope it is not real, because obviously you want the players taking care of themselves. Maybe Dom is our new Gini Wijnaldum. Versatile, great engine. Well, it's definitely going to give Arne some thinking to do. You know, Frimpong should be back after the international break. Does he go straight back in? Does Bradley go in? Or does Arne feel like he can keep utilising Dominic Szoboszlai there and get the four lads on the pitch at once? I'm fascinated by this one, Joseph, to see what Arne does, because I was very dismissive originally. The idea of Dominic Szoboszlai at right back. You guys talked me around as the week went on. And now that we've seen him play against Arsenal and play so well, I'll never have any qualms again if he does play at right back. But he's definitely really versatile, like you've said, Joseph. Can play anywhere, and the Gini Wijnaldum comparison is probably a good one. Paul McKeown said, feel for CHIESA, never gets a sniff, but always seems hard-working, not complaining, but think there's a player there. I agree. Now, maybe Arne wants to look at how he gets on over the first few months and how much action he's able to give him on the pitch. So hopefully then, going into the second half or the knockout stages, when you have to submit your squad again, maybe he thinks differently on it. But it is a difficult one. And again, for anybody coming in late, let me just read you through the Liverpool Champions League squad that has been today confirmed. So Alisson, Mamardashvili and Woodman are the goalkeepers. Then it's Gomez, Endo, Van Dijk, Canade, Kirkes, Bradley, Leone, Robbo, Frimpong, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, Isak. How good is it, by the way, to hear the name Isak there? Salah, Gakpo, Gu&eacute and Ngamoa. And on the B list, the youngsters, Neone and Dans. And again, to read through what has to be in each squad. Each team can name a maximum of 25 players in the A-list squad, which includes a minimum of 8 places reserved exclusively for what UEFA deems as locally trained or homegrown players, players that have been trained by the club or another club in the same national association for 3 years or more between the ages of 15 and 21. If we signed Gay, who else would have been left out? Well, Gay would have qualified for the homegrown list because he would have been through Chelsea's academy. So he would have been able to go on to the... we would have been able to fill out the squad to 23 then. So we only have 22 as it sits and not 25 because we were 3 short of utilising the maximum 8 homegrown. So nobody else would have had to have been dropped, as he'd have gone straight into the homegrown spots. Which is why you couldn't just boot out Woodman. Like, when I looked at the list at first, and Paul's question was, who would you remove? Woodman was the name that jumped off the page to me, but then I remembered, hang on, he's homegrown, so it wouldn't work that way. Bryant, how are we, sir? Bryant Rayner said, hey, Craig, watching from Tennessee. Thank you, sir. Do you think Slot is thinking Frimpong to be backing up Mo for the Champions League? He has to be considering it, doesn't he, Bryant? We are very short on that right side, as we know. Now, we can also swap a winger across. I know I keep saying we're obsessed with inverted wingers, but there's nothing to say that Cody Gakpo or Rio Ngamoa couldn't go across to the right-hand side. As you've correctly pointed out, Bryant, Frimpong could be utilised there as well. One thing that did catch my eye, Bryant, I think it was Stoke. I think it was the Stoke game in the behind closed doors one. We'd seen in the second half, he brought on Bradley and Frimpong, and he had Bradley playing right back and Frimpong playing in the right wing position. So I wondered at the time, was that maybe like a precursor to something that we see for the Champions League? So, yeah, I think you're right. I think he will be an option there, but who actually plays there? Or do we tweak system? This is another thing we could discuss. Do we go to a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-2-2 or something like that, where maybe we try to have Gu&eacute and Isak there as the attacking options with more number 10s in and around them? Let's wait and see. What's this one? Gear Trail 95 said all the nonsense with Newcastle and Isak, but when Gay does the right thing, you have to think the club sabotaging his move. I agree, and I said this exactly pretty much as you've said it yourself, mate. It just shows you nice guys get shafted. But the Visas, the Isaks, the Garnachos, the Gyökeres, they all get their moves. And also, there's a different kind of energy that's been reserved for Isak compared to the likes of Yo and Visa. I feel like Isak took the brunt of all of the players that were in this position this summer. Because Gyökeres, let's be honest, nobody really gave a shit about, because it was happening over in Portugal and it was a signing going to Arsenal, so no fuss was kicked up over that. Visa, who had kind of done more, I would say, than Isak in stripping off his social media posts and stuff, he seems to have almost gotten a pass on it because, like I said, all the attention went on to Isak's shoulders. But once again, it just reiterated to me that there's a different energy when Liverpool are involved, much like with the Trent booing stuff. Just over the top, everyone piles on. Keith, am I wrong to think I expect Liverpool to win the Premier League? Let's ask. Seems like a very good question to start off tonight, mate. I do, for what it's worth, with the squad we have now. So, one sec. So, I'm going to say, do you now expect being the key word, not want, not hope, but expect Liverpool to win the league? We'll leave that one vote for a while and see what people think. I would say with the addition of Isak, yeah, that's my expectation now. Let's break it down again. We have a window where we brought in Georgie Mamardashvili, Frimpong, Kerkez, Leone. Then we brought in Wirtz. We brought in Isak, Gu&eacute. I mean, that is a serious bit of business from Liverpool Football Club, and I think the expectation now should be that we go to win the league, yeah. Nothing wrong with saying that either. I know Mo was trying to sail in under the radar a little bit by saying Arsenal may be favourites, and I got where he was coming from. He was talking about the continuity of the Arsenal team being together for so many years and still having that desire and hunger to, fix the few second places that they had. Nothing wrong with trying to deflect away or put the pressure onto somebody else, but honestly, I think with what we've signed, there is an expectation now for Liverpool to deliver. This one. If only getting Elise was so easy, Mo won't like it. So, respectfully, whatever happens, whenever the Elise move happens, if it does, Liverpool have to look after their own interests at that point and look to the future. Will they do it a year before Mo moves? Maybe. It's hard to say at this point, but we do have to look to the future at some point, and I've always said that I want the succession planning to happen as much in advance as possible, because how do you replace the great man? It's a nigh on impossible task, isn't it, what Mo has done for the club? So Bringing in Ekitike, Isak, maybe trying to share that burden around of goals in the future is the best way to do it. Right, I did promise somebody I'd talk about Joe Gomez a minute ago. So let's talk about Joe Gomez. There was a piece written today from Team Talk that said that Joe Gomez was about to sign for Milan in a deal worth £13 million. I still think that is astonishingly low. Now, we don't know whether Liverpool would have pulled the plug on that deal anyway because of the Gay thing. You would imagine they would have. If Mark Gay fell apart, you would imagine they would have stopped the Joe Gomez move from going through as well. But £13 million feels really, really low for a player of Joe Gomez quality. Again, I don't know whether this was to facilitate Gomez, to help him get a move because maybe he wanted more first team football in the World Cup year. I really don't know. But 13, because at one point there was talk 6 to 8 million, remember? It was being spoken about at one point and I couldn't believe what was going on. But 13 million feels not even half of what I think it should be. So yeah, let us know what you think on that one. The piece that I read on the Echo said Liverpool centre-back Joe Gomez was due to sign for AC Milan in a deal worth £13 million on deadline day. According to Team Talk, then they say, however, Milan pulled the plug on the potential move due to the insufficient time for a medical. It's thought that the Reds might have pulled out regardless, considering that the proposed switch from Mark Gay from Palace collapsed at the 11th hour. T-Fang too, how are we, dude? Said, think we may see a variation of a 4-4-2, especially the Champions League, since CHIESA wouldn't probably do well as the right-sided player and has been left out. We could do, mate, yeah. And you may have just seen me speaking about it a moment ago. I am very intrigued to see what Arne does do there. Because what you don't want with any formation either is to become predictable. So I would like to see him mess around a little bit with that formation. And let's see. I mean, the first game for Isak is going to be against Burnley, away, 3 p.m. Will he start it? Almost certainly not. But will he get minutes? I hope so. Let's see who he gets on with Sweden. And on that, I want to talk about a couple of fixtures, actually, that we now got we got a confirmation of a change and we got the confirmation of the League Cup one. So let's start off with the fixture change for anybody who's maybe going to the game. Brentford versus Liverpool, which is Saturday, October 25th, was initially down as a 12:30 kickoff. And I am not one bit sad that this has been moved. Same day, but it's now an 8 p.m. kickoff. So Brentford versus Liverpool is now October 25th, Saturday, an 8 p.m. kickoff for that one, due to Liverpool being away in the Champions League on the Wednesday against Frankfurt. The League Cup game, or the Carabao Cup game, with Southampton has now been confirmed. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of September at Anfield with an 8 p.m. kickoff. So League Cup game against Southampton is Tuesday, the 23rd of September at an 8 p.m. kickoff. So Tuesday, September 23rd, 8 p.m. David said, how do you rate our team window? I'm going to make a video on that, actually, to put out over my days off. I'm going to record something on it probably tomorrow. How do I rate our window? Very good. Really, really good. Like, obviously, we would have liked Gay in at the end. There's no denying that. That would have been fantastic. But I'm still really happy. How could I not be? I wanted the extra forward in. We got him, and we got the guy, the one that we wanted from the start. Yeah, I'm buzzing, man. I would say it's a. I don't want to give the score I'm going to give it because that would ruin the video. But I'm a happy Liverpool fan. I've got no frustrations with the window. Gay, like I said, it was always going to be a touch and go thing on the last day. Other than that, the DM position I can see some people still a little bit unhappy with, but if Bajcetic can get fit and get minutes, I'd be okay with him there. So, yeah, happy Liverpool fan here. Can we get to 350k subscribers tonight? I don't think so. You know, we don't usually pick up too many on a normal stream night like this. What are we away now? 217 subscribers away. I'd be a liar if I told you I wasn't keeping an eye on the number, because 350 is so close now. So look, if you can help us out a little bit on the journey, do hit that subscribe button, and thank you Akinja for 16 months with us as a member as well. Right. Glasner ruined the Gay deal, said Paul Beer. Almost all who have ratings for the transfer window have rated Liverpool as the best. I failed to see, naturalist, how you couldn't rate us as the best. I certainly would put us as the best of the English windows anyway. The Gay thing with Glasner, look, I understand it. If I was in Oliver Glasner's position, I'd probably be throwing my toys out of the pram over it. But it does feel like it's really difficult for Mark Gay, and, you know, like I keep coming back to, of all the players who did all the things during the transfer window, he was the one that kept going, kept playing, kept performing, kept his silence, was just extremely dignified and classy all the way through it. So hopefully he gets his move soon, because, you know, he deserves it. Tom Judge, how are we, Tom? Said, thanks for all the work during the window. An absolute pleasure, sir. An absolute pleasure. It doesn't feel like work, you know. I love doing these things, and I hate times like this where it's quiet because Liverpool aren't playing and we're all waiting for the transfer, or excuse me, for the international break to be over, even though it's only started. So, yeah, as soon as I can get through this weekend, I'll then start convincing myself, right, countdown then to the weekend and another game. Hi Craig, just in the door, what's going on with CHIESA? So he'd been left out of Liverpool's Champions League squad because we just didn't have enough non-homegrown spots left, unfortunately. So yeah, tough one for Fede. But again, a tough decision as well for Arnott, in all fairness. Jamie, I did get your email and I'm working through how to respond to it, because I have a lot of stuff, dude, that's going on behind the scenes, and I'm also trying to get some free time for me. So I have started to draft a response to you, but I just haven't got through all of it yet, mate. But Connor did forward it on to me, and I do have something that I'm working on. Flo said, I genuinely can't think of any good reason why Chiesa will be left out. Don't get me wrong, Rio's incredible, but Chiesa has the experience. Rio's 17 and has never played in Champions League. I get that point. I mean, if I'm Arne Slot, what do? Do you talk about the star who's going to be here in the future? Because you don't want to be upsetting him maybe already in his Liverpool career. So, yeah, tough one. It is a tough one. Like I said, I can understand why it would have been a really difficult one for Arne to make. But looking at the list, I can't really see who else or anywhere I would have changed. It is a really tough decision. What's this? Okay, cool. Right, let's go. Where are we at? Naturalist said, Gay told Palace and Glasner he wanted to leave. If they thought it was not viable, they should have just said no. To do what they did is so disrespectful. Why would he want to do well for them? Well, here's what I don't get. The player they lost out on, it's not like they were bringing in a Joe Gomez or, I don't know, another top centre-back. They were talking about Brighton's 6th choice centre-back. 6th. And that was the extent of their cover for losing Mark Gay after having months to figure it out. So the whole thing just feels shitty, to be honest with you. And even at that, even as a replacement, like 6th choice Brighton centre-back was going to be the one, and then that was the thing that cancelled the whole deal. Feels weird, but again, I really just do feel for Mark Gay in this one, because he's been an absolute model pro. Will said, evening Craig, Chiesa is a player loved watching for years and wanted him at Liverpool, but don't like to say this. I think he's wasting his career staying at Anfield. It's really difficult to discuss these things without knowing the conversations that he had with the manager, because at the start of the summer, Romano and others were adamant Chiesa was leaving. Then we seen he didn't get brought over to Japan and Hong Kong, and again the talk was that he was looking for a club. Then it came to the point where we were looking like we were a little bit light numerically up top, and the narrative started to change. Then there was offers that came in for him, and he said no to, apparently. So it's a really tough subject. We all want Fede to play and do well, But at the same time, the decision like this really doesn't underline, this guy is a serious part of the squad and we feel like he can be a huge help for us this year. It's a tough one, but if he doesn't get more minutes this year, then I agree with you. It feels like he's kind of wasting away his career a little bit, which I don't like, and I'm sure he doesn't either, because we all want him to play and we all want him to do well. VI Jokers said, I hope we have a good cup run so we can see more of CHIESA playing. I think it's only fair. Well, that League Cup game is an example. That's coming up. So I'm sure there's a chance there for the likes of him, maybe Jayden Dan, certainly Rio and Gamoa, Trey Neone and players like that to get minutes. Yeah, it's just a tough decision, like I've said. I don't think there's any need to really assign blame to it. You know, if we had maybe a couple more homegrown players in there, that may have eased the burden there a little bit. Mark Ames said, Craig, Palace has deliberately dragged their feet over a replacement for Gay. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, my man. But ultimately, with all the best will in the world, it comes down to Palace to say yes or no to the sale. I don't disagree, by the way, that they kind of shafted him a little bit. But what really gets me is some of the articles around it. Like, there was an article, I think it was from Jason Burt in The Telegraph, that said something along the lines of, if Liverpool had have just paid 55 million for Mark Gay, he'd be a Liverpool player. Why is it that the narrative is so different when it's us? I don't get this. Why should Liverpool pay 55 million for him with 1 year to go in his deal when they value him at about 35? Why should we do that? We got an agreement on the deal. They pulled the plug in at last minute. So ultimately, Liverpool were going to get their man for the number they were comfortable with. And this narrative about just paying what you want is absolute nonsense. I didn't see Newcastle caving in early doors for Visa's money. They had to wait. And then they shit the bed at the end and coughed it all up. It just feels like, again, there's one set of morals for Liverpool that we get held to as a club and everybody else can do what the hell they want. Don't like it. And I wish Gay had gotten his move, because next time this happens and a player wants a move, well, it's been pretty much laid out now. Act like an unhappy fella, you'll get your move. Be professional, get shafted. So again, they keep banging on to us about they don't like to see this, they don't like to see that, credit player for this, credit player for that, but the player you're crediting got shafted. Everybody else got their move. So I don't know what message this sends to others in the future, except for kick up a big fuss again and you'll get your move. Craig Adams, thank you, mate. 27 months as a member. That's so cool, dude. Thank you. Do you think Arna will start subbing Salah off if his bad form continues? I'd hope so. You know, obviously none of us want Mo going through a bad vein of form, but anybody should be able to be taken off if they're not playing well. Nobody should have carte blanche to not play well. Now, again, there's a difference between not playing well and not putting in effort, and Mo is certainly putting in the effort. Nobody's trying to say otherwise, but if you polled Liverpool fans and said, do you think Mo's been at his best so far this season? I dare to say most of us probably would say no, he hasn't been at his best. There's been times where I thought he should have been subbed off as well, but you also have the argument that if there is somebody to pull out a moment in a game, maybe it's Mo, because we've seen times before where maybe he hasn't been at his best, but he has that one moment where he unlocks a defence or he does something special and scores. So again, this is what the manager gets paid the big bucks for, and as long as we're winning games of football, I'm pretty happy as a fan. But if we could win them a little bit easier than the ones we have, that'd be good as well. One sec, just need a drink. So, a couple of people in the chat coming in late asking what's up with CHIESA. He's been left out of Liverpool's Champions League squad, unfortunately, because of a lack of space in the squad. So, I'll read you out the squad in a moment, but each team can name a maximum of 25 players. But if you want to use the 25 players, then you have to have at least 8 of those players who are classed as homegrown. And homegrown means that they've spent 3 years or more between the ages of 15 and 21 at either the club in question or a club in the same country. So Liverpool could only put together a 22-man squad based off those. They also put into the squad Neoni and Dans as B-list players. So Liverpool's squad is Alisson, Mamardashvili Woodman, Gomez, Endo, Van Dijk, Kanade, Kirkes, Bradley, Leone, Robbo, Frimpong, Wirtz, Soboslai, McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, Isak, Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, and Rio Ngamoa. So that's why there's no space for CHIESA, unfortunately. Where was I at? Colin, how are you? Miss you. Kind of scared Mark changes his mind now. I have no idea if he does or doesn't. I really don't. Like, I'm reading some sites like The Echo, and they kind of speak about it being a formality that he becomes a Liverpool player. I think even James Pearce the other day, when the transfer saga was still ongoing, said he will be a Liverpool player. It's just a matter of when. So I hope that all those conversations have taken place. Now, I'm sure that there will be clubs around Europe sniffing around Mark Gay because they'd be wrong not to. 6 months to go on his deal, they're able to sign him on a pre-contract or have conversations with him. But at the same time, knowing what we do know about Mark Gay, if he's given his word to Liverpool and Liverpool still want it, you would imagine it will happen. We'll find out about this though soon enough. More will come out about this over the coming weeks. Craig, I lost my mum today after a long cancer battle. Just want to say thanks to you and this community for being something to look forward to daily for years. It means more than you know. I'm so sorry to hear about your mum, Cal. It's such a horrible illness, cancer, isn't it? I've seen my father-in-law. He didn't pass away, but he had cancer in 3 places, and it took a lot out of him. And even to this day, it still has its impact on him psychologically and physically. So I'm really sorry, mate, to hear about your mum. There's nothing I can say to you now that's going to make anything better. I'm so sorry, mate. It's one of those horrible things in life. Saying goodbye to your mum like that is difficult, no matter what age you are or what the circumstances are. And I'm sure our whole community are here and will send you love and best wishes, dude. But I appreciate your kind words towards me, but there's no need for it, man. We are here if you need us for a chat or anything, dude. So sorry about your mum. It's always so difficult to move on to another comment from something like that, because obviously Cal's gone through a very difficult time, and which we can all understand. I mean, cancer's touched, I think, every family in the world nearly at this point, through an extended family member and immediate family member. So sending you love, Cal. Hope you are well, Craig. I am Chad. I'm okay, thank you, mate. Who's the odd man out when Isak is ready to start? Gakpo? No idea. No idea, because again, we're kind of guessing at the formation, or I would say Arna probably will look at the opponent and make the decision based off that. Yes, squad management and rotation is going to be key and keeping players fresh, but I like to use the phrase horses for courses, and maybe against some opposition, he would think maybe somebody, you could play with 2 10s as an example. And another one, maybe you want to go with 2 strikers and play off and around them. So, not sure, but we need to stop as fans thinking about just starting 11s, because the whole point here is to have that really deep squad. And, you know, look at the bench from the opening games. Now, for various reasons, the bench has looked a little bit light. Isak wasn't in, Frimpong was injured. We didn't have Gravenberch and McAllister playing together till the Arsenal game. So, if we can keep everybody fit, these are really good headaches for the manager to have. John Irving, how are we, John? Nice to see you in, bro, and thank you so much for your very kind super chat as well. Said Isak wrote a classy farewell to Newcastle. Shame, no response. Edwards' article almost implied match fixing. Not sure Kanade can be trusted to pull his weight. Game was even more so now. Gay has been shafted. Thanks for everything. So, lots to break down there. Let's start with the farewell. Yeah, look, he said, from the heart, goodbye, thank the fans, thank the club. Newcastle once again showed their worst side, I feel, with it. And again, the Newcastle fans, I don't even know what to say there anymore with some of the responses to it. Two things can be true at once, and I think Newcastle fans need to understand that. And maybe they would say the same to us about Trent, but at least in this case, they had 125 million or 130 million Great British pounds to soothe them. For us, like I said, two things can be true at once. Do I think Isak loved Newcastle fans? Yes, of course, because they took him in, and I'm sure he has nothing but respect for Eddie Howe as well and his teammates. But at the same time, he wanted the next step in his career, and he wanted to come to a club that can challenge for the Champions League and the Premier League. So everything isn't always black and white, and sometimes it depends whose lens or perspective you're looking at the situation through. But all you can do, and I say this to my wife and my kids all the time, we can't act how others conduct themselves. We have to look at our own moral values and do what we think is the best to do in each situation. And in this situation, he felt it was right to give a classy goodbye. And I absolutely think that speaks to him as a person as well. On the match fixing thing, or the Luke Edwards one, it just felt so unnecessary, mate. Like, let me read out the paragraph to you, because I sent it to Connor earlier on. So let me read this out. So this was the paragraph in question in the article. One sec. So it said, indeed, some insiders suggested from April onwards, Isak was behaving like somebody who did not want the team to qualify for the Champions League because it would make harder for him to explain to Howe and the supporters why he wanted to go. It was against that backdrop that Newcastle's board began to consider what they would do if Isak wanted to leave. They were braced for bids and attempts to unsettle the player. An asking price in excess of £150 million was the first and most important step. It was so high, it was designed to effectively inform potential buyers that the player was not for sale. So, suggested is a cop-out word, because the whole thing is filled full of holes, right? It doesn't have any specifics in it. And to make something of an accusation that big, you would want cast iron guarantees. You would want people on record saying these things. Now, maybe you want to protect your sources, but you still need these people on record, because that is a big claim to make about somebody. And they did qualify for the Champions League, and he still left. So, I don't know. For me, I just think this caps off what has been a very embarrassing window for Luke Edwards, who I don't know personally, who I don't really want to know personally, but who has shown himself to be, in my opinion, just an extension of the Newcastle team's PR and a mouthpiece for the PIF and everything Newcastle wanted out there. And they also threw him under the bus. So now he's added a potential legal headache to his situation. Let him deal with it. Suleiman said, regarding Gay's transfer, I'm not sure why Liverpool couldn't tell Palace to confirm the transfer by a certain time before deadline day. It doesn't... I guess if you're Liverpool, Suleiman, and he's the guy you want. Now, I don't know if there was plan A, B, C, and D on it. I just don't. But let's say, for instance, it was Gay they wanted and that was it. Well, putting them on the shot clock doesn't really change anything, because they still have to go and find the replacement. And it was the replacement that seemingly made this deal fall apart. Now, why did West Ham move so late? Why were they not able to convince the guy from Brighton to come and join them? Don't really know on that one. I think he had worked with Graham Potter at Brighton, the centre-back, that Igor, that shafted them. So maybe, he was waiting for that to come in. Even as a footballing decision, it's a questionable one, because Crystal Palace right now are, I would say, a better team than West Ham by quite a way. And also, you're guaranteed that game time as well there with Crystal Palace, because they need the body. So I don't know if it was a money thing and the numbers were just better for him and he decided to change. But I do know that Liverpool really thought this one was going through. And when it came out yesterday that Parish was at a fitness class in Soho till 6 o'clock, when the window's closing at 7, and there's a deal sheet going in, that really was a head scratcher. Slot is not disrespecting CHIESA, said Joe O'Neill. Slot had to pick a squad I don't know if you're talking to me there, Joe, or somebody else. Maybe somebody in the chat said he was disrespecting him. I don't know. I think, like you've said, Joe, it's a very, very tough decision, and I would challenge anybody to go through the squad and find the player that they would replace. Like Paul said at the very start, it was a good question to kick us off, and I think it was a fair one. I can't find somebody that I take out to put CHIESA in, so just a tough one. Hey Craig, remember Spondulix on Twitch? I miss those days. Yeah, that was a fun year though. You know, it was a fun year. Where are we? Curtis said, "Hi mate, I think it's nuts leaving Fede out. It's tough. It is a tough call, but like I said, go through the squad. I can't find somebody to move out. You know, if we look at it, Woodman, he would be homegrown, so you can't move him out. And looking else through the squad, I can't see who else you leave out there. So it's a calculated decision by Arna, and one that obviously he thinks is the right one. I can't answer it for him. You know, I'm sure he'll give us an answer to this in a press conference at some point, but certainly I don't think it was a disrespectful thing, but a tough one. Right, let's look at our poll. We said, do you now expect Liverpool to win the league? Not want, but expect. So we'll leave that run for a few more minutes. If you get a chance, please do vote on it. And also, 195 subscribers to go now until we hit the magical 350. Elmir, how are we, sir? Said, firstly to Cal, we're all with you, brother. You'll never walk alone. Class act, mate. Well done. Appreciate that. Craig, who would you consider alternative to Gay if we didn't get him from the Premier League centre-backs? Good question. So it'll depend if we need somebody that is homegrown. Because Independent is an example who went to Arsenal, could have been somebody we looked at. Maybe Levi Colwill if he came back from his injury down the line, if Chelsea were open to selling him, which I don't think they will be, but he'd be one. Other than that, I can't really think of anybody. Elmir. Yeah, Gay ticked a lot of boxes in that way. Stephen, is there no way, I think you meant Gay can appeal the transfer since Crystal Palace pretty much sabotaged his transfer? No, he can't. Crystal Palace own the player's registration. And, you know, these things are only black and white. You know, it's a legal thing. The player goes, does his medical and all. Yeah, it's shit that it's pulled last minute, but it's not the first and it won't be the last time, unfortunately, that these type of things happen. There is no real legal recompense there for Mark Gay, but morally, I'm sure it's annoyed him. And his relationship with Crystal Palace and Oliver Glasner, well, that could be a very different conversation. It's a tough one. It really is. But legally, no, there's not really anything there because he's their player. And if they don't want to sell him when he has time left on his contract, they don't have to do so. But appreciate the question, Stephen. And thank you, mate, for being in with us. Craig, surely we could throw in a bid for Saliba. What do you think? I'd rather we wait and get Mark Gay, honestly. I can see a world where our defence in the future is Mark Gay and Leone, like 2-3 years down the line, when Leone's gone on a little bit. Mark Gay maybe steps into the leadership position that Virgil has. But the big question for me again is still what the hell is happening with Canade. We're still none the wiser as to whether Ibu's going to sign a new deal or whether that's in the bin. I knew you meant Gay, mate. It's okay. Autocorrect does me dirty plenty of times as well. Will said, for the life of me, cannot understand why there's so much backlash on the way Isak behaved. Many players do the same. The big story is about how Gay was treated. We always look at these things through Liverpool eyes, obviously. And I guess because Isak was the big money signing of the whole window, British transfer record, that took a lot of the focus. But the way they were going on, you would swear Isak was in there every day, sticking two fingers up to Eddie Howe, spitting at the fans as he was driving by, burning his Newcastle jersey. Let's look at what actually happened. And this is what I keep trying to come back to, Will. How did this whole situation start to unfold? It happened up at Celtic. when Newcastle had that game. Isak was up there, Joelinton wasn't, and Eddie Howe pulled him out of the squad. And the club put out the information that it was because of an niggly injury in his thigh. And the manager said no, it was because his head wasn't right. Now, if it was because of a niggly injury in his thigh, why was he brought up and Joelinton wasn't if they were both had an injury? So that is bullshit from moment one. So Eddie Howe's probably being right. And that is the moment for me where all of this starts to unravel and unfold. Because then there's the stuff around their pre-season trip. Then he was over in Sociedad. They knew they didn't know. He was under the instruction of Newcastle over there rehabbing, but yet no Newcastle staff were with him. The whole thing was a very one-sided affair that Isak pretty much kept stum on. Even look at the timing of his statement. It was after he'd been included in the PFA Team of the Year. Now, if you look at his statement, I wouldn't consider that a really insulting one, but more an underlining of why he feels like a move is best and why he feels like he should move on. But, like I said, people love to kick Liverpool when they're down or when there's anything. Just look at the Trent situation. That was the biggest indication to me of double standards I've ever seen. Trent gets booed by a handful of fans for leaving the club basically for nothing, and we are ransacked and ridiculed in the media. Happens all the time at other grounds, nothing said about it. Different energy for Liverpool, Will. Why would Gay allegedly change his mind over joining Liverpool when it was Palace who caused the problem with the transfer? Just in case, Mark, let's say Barcelona came in. Because at that point, he still had to be a fee paid for him, right? So at that point, Liverpool were the only ones that were putting up the money because he was where we wanted to go as well. Or we were where he wanted to go, excuse me. But in January, if they wanted to, you know, your Bayern Munich, your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids, they can all talk to Mark Gay and his representatives openly without any hassle, but Liverpool couldn't because we're in the same league, in the same nationality. So it's only overseas clubs that have that advantage of talking with and getting a pre-contract signed if they so wished. So I guess it will come down to what Mark Gay wants to do. Does he fulfill that move to Liverpool eventually and pocket a few quid himself for a signing on fee? Does he go in January? Or does he reevaluate and see how the season goes? Because it may change for us as well. Like, let's say Gomez picks up a knock in November. Maybe that pushes Liverpool in January where they were going to wait till the end of the season. Again, what's happening with Canade and his contract? We don't know. So how is that going to impact the season going on? Didinho said, "You'll never walk alone, Cal. Paris was hiding in the gym. Parish was hiding in the gym. Coward." It just felt so weird to read that yesterday. That I think it was at the Times that put that out. That he was in Soho at a fitness class in a gym till 6 o'clock. When one of the biggest assets at his club was being sold and he's in a gym. That's a piss take. And that alone would be enough for me to lose my shit if I was Mark Gay. Fred said to me, hi Craig. To me, it's a C, mate, not a G. By the way, it's all good, my man, but it's Craig, not Greg. To me, it seems passing on of Diogo's really affected Mo in a way because he's been really emotional. Yeah, and look, I get it. Like, we all process loss in different ways. Some people can compartmentalize stuff and maybe still perform, and then when they go home, they think about it more. It's really difficult. And the thing that I would give all of these guys tremendous credit for is they've had to grieve in the public eye. So throughout the pre-season tour, the game against Preston, the Community Shield, or the opening game of the season, every one of those games had some form of celebration of Diogo's life, some form of remembering himself and Andre. So these guys had to relive that moment again and again and again, and to try to go out there and play and perform. Now, everybody that was trying to celebrate Diogo and Andre's life was obviously coming from a really good place. The Preston fans and the club are absolutely amazing. All the celebration of Diogo and Andre's lives in the likes of Hong Kong and Japan, it was all beautiful intent. But again, you just think about the the impact of these guys having to live through that and rethink that just before they go and kick games of football must be so, so hard. Especially knowing the Ogos family were there as well for the opening game. So they have nothing but my admiration, all of them, for the courage that they've shown, the bravery that they've shown, and the togetherness that they've shown. So not surprising at all to me, mate, that maybe Mo feels it more deeply or has impacted him maybe in a different way to others, because we're all unique individuals. Ahmed said, unfortunately, clubs are going for Gay like Madrid. But that doesn't mean anything. Like I'm not saying 100% he's going to be a Liverpool player because, like I said all the way through the summer, I don't know the Mark A situation. I don't have anything on that. But he strikes me as the type of guy who word means a lot to. He's the son of a pastor. He's a religious man. He is a leader. He just seems like a really good fella. And if he feels he wants to come to Liverpool, and Liverpool would have been sitting there with him and his family and his representatives in their offices in London while he was doing his medical, and I'm sure the conversations would have been had at the point of the deal breaking down that we still want you, mate. We will revisit this. And I do think, despite others like Madrid maybe coming in, Mark A will want to join Liverpool Football Club because Liverpool Football Club were the ones who were willing to put their hand in their pocket and put the money on the table to bring him in. It's not Liverpool's fault that Crystal Palace pulled the plug on the deal. So I'm sure others will be interested, but again, Liverpool have that long-standing desire and want to bring him in and would have done a lot of the groundwork. Stephen Wilkins said, hey Craig, we should have offered Gomez on loan to Crystal Palace to cover for Gay. So this was something that was brought up in conversation quite a bit. Somebody mentioned to me that Charlton and Palace are a big rivalry. I haven't got a clue. So maybe there was something to that. I don't know after that. Like it's just a hypothetical question. But I'd be a liar, Stephen, if I'd said to you that it wasn't something that crossed my mind as well during all of this. That why isn't that an option? But again, maybe Joe didn't want it. Maybe Glasner didn't want it. Although I find that hard to believe if they were bringing in your man Igor from Brighton. But for whatever reason, man, it just wasn't on the table. Craig, can we poll our preferred starting right back, assuming no injuries? Absolutely, Anis. Yeah, let me end this one, sir, and I will put that one up for you. So, 84% of people think that Liverpool they now expect Liverpool to win the league. So, let me get this back. Right, okay. Okay. So, who would be your starting right back? Frimpong, Bradley, or Dom? So, we'll take Giannis's idea and run with it. If you're Arne Slot right now, next game you're coming back in for, maybe even the Chelsea game or whatever game you want, who are you picking for right back? Frimpong, Bradley, or Dominic Szoboszlai? Sunil said, sorry, late to the pod. That's okay, sir. Always a pleasure to see you. Reece Williams is the new Nat Phillips. Keep him at the club till we sign another genuine centre-back. Yeah, he's not good enough, though. Like, I was actually surprised to learn he's still even on the club's books. I thought this summer he'd gone. I'd much rather we used Endo at centre-back. And actually, the Echo ran a piece where they reminded us that Trainee only played at centre-back in one of the pre-season games. I think maybe it was the Stoke game, if my memory's right. So, there were loads of people I would put in there ahead of Reece Williams who wasn't even getting a look in Aberdeen or, lower tier clubs that he went on loan to, Sunil. So yeah, for me, I'd pass on the Reece Williams one, mate, but he is still a Liverpool player, so I appreciate your point. Definitely Peter. Peter said horses for courses. 100% Peter. And again, I try to say this all the time as well. The manager will probably have a different thought process for different opponents, but it was a fun hypothetical question Giannis asked, so let's just stick it in and see what people think. That's what she said. Hayden, Sabrina. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Thanks for demonetizing me stream.
I don't think my 2 words, after all the curse words...
Can I show everybody what your head looks like now?
It looks like somebody's been murdered and their blood has seeped onto my head.
And why are you speaking like you've got some type of illness?
Because I have mentally ill.
You've got Craig-itis, is that what you have?
Yeah, it just drives you insane slowly. Very slowly.
Do you know what helps?
What?
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur.
Daddy, kitty.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, my wife's dyeing her hair at the moment and her whole forehead, top of her head is red. It looks very weird. Anyway, I think CHIESA just wants to play, whether it's Champions League, Cup games or League games. I don't think he cares. Look, I want him to play as well. I think we all want to see him get minutes on the pitch. Now Arna's doubled down and kept him again for another season, so we need to utilise him. He's a really good player. Just need to get that fitness up and don't try for mad Craig. No, David, come on. It's a war. I told Connor, marriage is a war. War. From moment one. Psychological warfare from the minute you say, I do, right through till you say your goodbyes to each other. And I love it. She wouldn't respect me if I gave her an easy life without a bit of banter. So, yeah, wind her up. That's the way forward. What's the worst that can happen? Evening, my friend. How are we, Itachi? Nice to see you, sir. Thoughts on CHIESA missing the Champions League squad? I think we just should have let him go. This isn't going to end well. Again, thoughts disappointed, but understanding. If you look at the squad yourself and think, who do you leave out? I can understand Arna's predicament because I can't see a space there from a non-homegrown player to remove. So I just hope we do get to see him fully utilised in cup games, in Premier League games, because, we need him. We need that extra body and we need the option. Mo going away for the AFCON as well is going to mean that hopefully the minutes will be there. Amd, excuse me, said, Slot is being way too harsh on Fede. I don't think he's much of a bad player. So we're all making a load of assumptions here, right? We haven't heard from Arna on it yet, so I don't really know. But like I keep saying, come back to the squad and look at it. There's not really a glaring player there that you could say, right, I'm removing him. Also, the club confirmed a new appointment. So Liverpool have confirmed the appointment of Luis Fernando Lubel to a new role focused on the development and transition of the club's elite young players. The 36-year-old joined the Reds as a player development player developer, individual development lead coach. He previously coached the Vasco da Gama, Sierra, Bahia, Ponte Preta, Curitiba, and some other clubs in Brazil. Don't know much about him, but there you go. Leone, yes. Leone, speaking to Vivo Azzurro TV, was talking about life at Liverpool and, Virgil van Dijk being his idol, and he said his idol's always been Virgil. He said, it's an indescribable emotion. It's a pride to be part of this team and train with players of this calibre. I didn't expect it, to be honest. I think he means being called up, but I'm truly happy. It means a lot to hear these words from a coach who's had a very important career. I will have to show on the field what I can do to help the team. I still have to get used to Liverpool, but I'd spoken with the coach during the summer. We had a conversation and I was called up. I was very happy and proud to be here. Caoimhín Kelleher has been speaking a little bit about how the loss of Diogo has impacted him. He said, it's not been the easiest of times for me personally, and for the lads at Liverpool is going to be difficult. He's going to be a big miss. I've lost a huge friend, so it's been difficult as you'd imagine. It, again, is a very difficult one. Now, I want to move on to the Bayern Space account because, again, the whole Michael Elise situation has come up in conversation. And this is a quote from one of their posts. Max Erbel managed to push the permanent signing of Nicholas Jackson's transfer through by assuring Bayern Munich supervisory board that no fresh funds would be required next summer. He argued that the money for squad planning would be generated through the high-profile sales of players like Michael Elise and Harry Kane, who have release clauses that could be triggered. The board accepted this reasoning and gave its approval, leaving Jackson to stand as Bayern's second most expensive signing of all time. Now, there's a lot to unpack there. I hope that everything there is correct because, you know, the idea of Liverpool going to sign Michael Elise to be that long-term Salah replacement is one that I think is incredible. And I think it would be a great move both from the player's perspective and from Liverpool's perspective. It would be an expensive one, but I'm not even going to pretend to understand the finances of how the deal at that moment would work. But I hope that account is true because they've got quite a bit right this summer around the Vert situation as well. So let's wait and see. But it does look like there's some credibility to at least Liverpool looking at Michael Elise because he'd only be, I think, 24 next year, 25 the year after. So still plenty of time left for him to come to a club like Liverpool and do 5-6 years. Craig, can CHIESA be added in January? Yeah, there would be a second a second squad that would have to be submitted before the knockout stages. So yes, he could be in theory. Itachi said Elise would be a perfect match. Agree, be brilliant. Like nobody can replace Mo. Mo is Mo. But if you have Elise, if you have Gu&eacute, if you have Gakpo, Rio Ngamoa, Isak, certainly spreading around the goals there. What's this one? Tottenham and Manchester United asked about the England international Adam Wharton in the final weeks of the summer transfer window. Wharton has almost every major club in Europe keen on him, said Graham Bailey. There you go. I have no idea about Adam Wharton and Liverpool. Haven't got a clue. This one. Thanks. I'm new to football, being from Ohio. I don't know the ins and outs. All good, Stephen. Any questions you ever have, my friend? There's no such thing as a stupid question, dude. So fire them in. I'll probably have about 10 for you about the NFL as well, in the opposite direction. So my pleasure, Stephen, and thank you, mate, for being with us. Lots of love to you over in Ohio. Flo said, respect to fellow Scouser Anthony Gordon. Did not have to say a farewell message to Isak, but did. Fair play Gordon, despite him being an Evertonian. But he is a Liverpool fan. Let's not forget that. Anthony Gordon is a Liverpool fan. Keith said, hi Craig, keep up the great work. Appreciate that. Great channel. If there's an injury in the Champions League squad, how can we bring CHIESA in, or are we limited in that situation? We can't bring him in. You know, this has been the squad that's been sent in to UEFA. So it can't change until after the league format. So unfortunately, there'd be no way to bring him in, which is unfortunate. We just don't have the space. We don't have enough what would be classed as homegrown players to even fill up the full 25 squad. So we've 22, and then we have, who was the other two again? Neone and Dans were the B-list players. Sunil said, Rio over CHIESA is a great decision, not emotional, just being progressive. We know Fede doesn't have a long-term future. Hopefully he gets starts in the Cups, gives us memories off the bench in the league. I agree, Sunil. You know, you've got Rio coming through, huge talent, not saying CHIESA isn't, but you do have to make sure that you don't rock the boat there either. And I guess this is another indication of maybe Arna really thinking that Ngamoa is for the here and now, because that's a big statement. That's a big show of trust. So yeah, I agree, and thank you, Sunil. Appreciate you. What do you think of Rio playing on the right, said Badruddin? Mate, I am happy with him wherever he plays. Left, right, I don't mind. I think we need to utilise somebody on the right hand side when Mo's not around, or when Mo needs to be rested. So whether it's Gakpo pushing across, whether it's Rio and Gamoa pushing across, I don't mind. Whatever makes us play well, and whoever fits what we need at that moment. I'm really happy that we got Isak in, because that really makes me feel like we have enough now in attack. Without him, I do think it looked squad bare, or threadbare, excuse me. Because CHIESA still needs to get up to fitness. Rio is still just a 17-year-old guy. And then we would have only had Gakpo, Salah, and Gu&eacute. So having Isak in there is going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see him in a Liverpool shirt out there on the pitch. Maddie said, I feel like Salah's gone bad in the past games. Do you agree? He hasn't played at his best. But like I said, what is the reason for that? Is it a form thing? Is it Diogo still obviously impacting him? We don't know. But what we do know is Mo has more than enough credit in the bank for us to keep supporting him. And let's talk about this, over the next few weeks as well. We know how good Mo is. And yes, he hasn't been at his best, but only he will know why. And hopefully it's something that can be rectified as soon as possible, because nothing makes us happier than seeing Mo scoring and doing what he does best. Martin Lawrence, how are we, dude? There's reports that Chiesa is out of the Italy squad after agreeing with Gattuso he is not 100%, may have played into Arna's decision. Well, I don't think he was ever getting called up to the Italian squad, from my understanding, because he hasn't been playing enough, so kind of a double-edged sword, that one. And yeah, maybe he did play into Arna's decision, but also what Sunil said as well about looking to that future, and Rio being the huge talent that he is, we got to make sure he's in there as well. It's a tough one. It is. It's a tough one. Liverpool 67 said, we left ourselves short in defence and in midfield. You watch if Konate goes down. He'll play Gravenberch at centre-back. We have just two midfielders, and they'll be run down in no time. We look overloaded up front. I don't think we do look overloaded up front. Now, the points you've made, mate, about the centre-back and the midfield, I totally understand, but I don't think we do look overloaded up top at all. In the middle of the park, in the area you're talking about, from my mindset, you can look at Gravenberch, McAllister, Bajcetic, maybe Nioni in the six. I don't like Jones there. I don't think it works. Still feels we are reliant on Ryan Gravenberch not being injured, because we don't really Endo isn't a Gravenberch type player, so the number 6 position we play differently. And at the back, yeah, I get that argument as well. 4 centre backs and a youth player is right on the edge of what you would think is acceptable going through the season, but maybe this is something we readdress in January. I don't know. But for now, look, I think we're okay, but I'm not going to push back on anybody like yourself who thinks maybe we could come a little bit short, because look, I'm around long enough to have seen times where, yeah, we do get them injuries. And I think the last 2 seasons alone, just look at those 2 seasons and look at the difference of we won the league and we fell away at the end. And what was the difference? Probably fatigue and injuries. From Jurgen's last year to Arna's first year. Arna, one thing he has done with Ruben Peters is manage the squad load very well and keep players from being injured. So if he can do that again this year, we should be all right. Tam said, I would have left out Rio, Chiesa's Champions League experience. Not a hope I would have done that. We'll ask that. We'll run that as a poll, but not for me, mate, no. Because then what if Rio goes, right, well, you don't trust me. And, in the future, this could be something he looks back on and thinks, meh, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't leave Rio out, because he has his whole career ahead of him. He has shown in a big moment already that he's got what it takes up at Newcastle. And whilst they're both capable of a moment of magic, I think you just got to stick with a young superstar who, I couldn't imagine Barcelona leaving out Lamal from a squad. Now, I'm not trying to say Rio and Gamo as you mean Lamal, but he's our you mean Lamal. So, yeah, I don't think I could have left him out. Where was I at? This one from Daniel said, hi Craig, feel for Chiesa, but if Mo is on form He wouldn't get a sniff anyway. More rotation on the left. I reckon Dom could play on the right. He could. Dom is one of those players, like we've said earlier on, that could play anywhere in the Liverpool team. On the right-hand side for the Champions League games, well, if Salah isn't going to be there for 3 of them, that's going to be tough. And hopefully we've got results in the bag at that stage. Going away to Galatasaray without Salah is going to be a tough one. But like I said, these are the decisions Arne has to make. And I'm sure they're not decisions he took lightly. Yamal's a starter for Barca though. Right. But he wasn't always. He's probably a year ahead in his development to Rio. So, again, these are questions that only Arne can give you the answer to, but I'm just saying I wouldn't have left out Rio for CHIESA, personally. Paul, I love this family and look forward to 2045. I don't think I'll still be here, Paul, in 2045. I don't think I'll still be here in 2030, let alone 2045. So, appreciate you though. Thank you, mate. With us for 16 months as well as a member. Craig, Galatasaray is our second Champions League game. Is it? Sorry, I thought it was our last one. I don't have the actual fixtures in front of me. I thought it was our last one, no? Let me just look back. Let me scroll back. Sorry, I don't have the fixtures to hand. I'm scrolling back through the days till I get them all. It was Saturday, wasn't it, that this came out? Bear with me. Sunday. Where are they? Yeah, I think Mark sent them here to me. There we go. So, you're right. Yeah, I'm wrong. Sorry. So our last 3 then would be, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be Karabag, a home, which should be straightforward enough. Marseille away. Inter at home is a tough one though. Yeah, so what if he misses them? When does the AFCON start? Oh, you think he meant 8:45 and not the year? That's probably fairer. 20.45. There was no dot, but you're spot on. Good shout. So yeah, that makes way more sense. I look forward to 8:45 as well, Paul, and thank you for pointing that out to me, mate. Andy, sorry. Yeah, so Liverpool's fixtures. Galatasaray is our second one. Atleti at home, the first one. Frankfurt away. Then Liverpool at home against Madrid. Liverpool at home against PSV Eindhoven. Away against Inter. Away against Marseille. And at home against Karabag. Thank you for that one. I just had it in my mind that it was the last one. Maybe it's because it was the last game or the last team that came out into the group. AFCON is December 20th to January 18th. Thank you. Where are we at with that one? Lewis Noble. Thank you, mate. You're doing a great job. Thank you for this summer. My absolute pleasure. Look, some of the comments that people have left have been lovely over the past few days. I haven't been able to get through them all, but the ones I've seen are so kind, and I really do appreciate it. Right, let's look at the fullback poll. If you haven't had a vote on this one, please do. Very interesting to see your thoughts. We're saying, who would be your starting right back after seeing Szoboszlai? Would it be Frimpong, Bradley, or Dom? When does the Champions League start? No probs. Let me just bring this back up for you. So, the first game for us is the 17th of September. So not too far away. 2 weeks from today, actually. A home against Atletico Madrid. So 2 weeks from today, the Reds are back in action in the Champions League. A home against Atleti. Anfield, Dan. Hey, Craig. Tuning in from Virginia. Found you about halfway through the summer and haven't missed the show. Thank you. Thanks for getting us through the summer. Enjoy your break. Anfield Agenda for life. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. So this is a weird one for me because it always shocks me that, and this, I don't know if this is arrogance or stupidity, but it always shocks me that people didn't know about us. I would think that our channel would have been quite established at this point, but it's a pleasant surprise because it means there's still more new family members that we can find and bring in, Dan. So I need to figure out what we're doing wrong there so we can make ourselves more discoverable. But I'm really happy to have you in, mate, and glad to have you as a regular viewer. Really do appreciate your support, and much love to you over in Virginia. What Connor did for the clips was entertaining. Should do more of that. I think more people would tune into clips as it would be different stories. Well, that's what we keep saying to people, to check out the Clips channel, because that's what we do. Connor pulls out the best bits and puts them up on the Clips channel. So if you haven't subscribed to it, do check out Anfield Agenda Clips. Did Rio get his new contract? I don't think it's signed yet, Paul, but it will be signed soon. You know, he turned 17 last week, so the contract will be in front of him soon enough. Hugo said, a 17-year-old, no matter how talented, have no right to be offended if he was left out of the Champions League squad. Learn to stay humble. But you're giving out to somebody in a hypothetical, mate. Rio hasn't done anything. He hasn't been left out. He hasn't been offended. Like, you're arguing with yourself over a hypothetical that doesn't exist. So, you know. Jacko, how are we, dude? Dom at right back has worked well so far, in my opinion. Ticks a lot of boxes and can put in those diagonal crosses. Trent did and defends better. Defends better than him. I would like to see continue with it. So, I'm okay if it continues. I'm okay if it's Frimpong. I'm okay if it's Bradley. I just... I have to hold my hands up there, Jacko, to say that initially, when Dom was mentioned as a potential right back, I wasn't a fan of the idea. But very quickly I realised, okay, I can see it now. And the more I thought about him drifting in, like you said, to kind of overload in midfield, nothing wrong with it. Where are we? This one from Sunil said, confident we can win the league and go all the way in the Champions League this season. Looking ahead, Gay for Gomez, Wharton for Endo, Rodgers for Jones. Arne Slot's upgrades are complete. Well, I don't think Rodgers for Jones needs to be done if Elliott was sold. You could just bring in Rodgers. If, you know, we do go that way, Sunil. I mean, I love every name you've mentioned there, to be honest, Sunil, and every potential deal you've mentioned I wouldn't be against. So it's a yes for me, dude. Okay, Craig, I got this one right. You did. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you, Fred. I can imagine a lot of thoughts going on inside Mark Gay's mind at the time, but I think plan from Glasner to cancel this because he wasn't happy. For me, Parrish looks weak. Whatever way you dress this up, I think Steve Parrish looks weak. Now, others will say, no, he's listening to his manager. But his manager is also out of contract at the end of the season, to the best of my understanding. So what happens if at the end of this year, Glasner doesn't sign on and he loses Mark Gay? Has it been worth it? Probably not, because he's going to have to find a new coach and still find that new centre-back, but without the £35 million in his back pocket to do it. So I just think it was a stupid bit of business by Steve Parrish, but, you know, ultimately, it's his club. Oh, well, he's the chairman. He makes the decisions. Martin Pickering said, Champions League theory, Mark signs, Leone dropped, Fede in. I mean, maybe. It's certainly possible. Mark Gay himself wouldn't mean anybody would need to be ruled out, but you said Leone. Possibly, but it could also go the other way. Like, let's say Leone has a brilliant few months and Mark Gay comes in. He might think, well, hang on, you know, I need an extra centre-back there, so we'll stick with Leone. As I said, I'm sure we'll hear from Arna on this, but it was just unfortunate that today it came out, and of course there's the international break. Wasn't it James McConnell rather than Trey at centre back pre-season, making a good impression, now on loan at Ajax? What about Stefan? So it was in pre-season, it wasn't McConnell at centre back, it was what's the young lad's name again? Not James McConnell. Who's the other guy that's gone out on loan? Stevenson. That was at centre back for a good few of them. But I'm sure Trey Leone did play centre back for one half or one game in pre-season. But yeah, as you said, McConnell gone on loan there to Ajax for the season. He signed a new contract as well before he went over. And yes, sub people, thank you, Henning, on that one. Yeah, do sub people. We're 193 away from 350k. Dean, did I not read your super chat, mate? 1 second. Let me fly back through it, Dean. If I missed it, apologies. Let me go back through it, dude. Sorry, bear with me, Dean. I'm flying back through them all now so I can find it. Make sure I read it out for you. Where are we? Okay. Here it is, Dean. Sorry, mate. Do you think we'll go in for Gay again in January? And if so, what would his fee be? So, do I think? I hope so, Dean. But I think it might come down to Mark Gay. If he doesn't want disruption during a campaign in a World Cup year, then maybe he thinks, I stay with Palace and I move on for free. If it is a case that we revisit Dean in January, I'm thinking somewhere between 17 to 20 is probably a number that's fair. But it's an intriguing one because I've read arguments either way that yes, Liverpool will be back in January, and I've read others who said they don't think we will. I'm unsure, but on the fee, I wouldn't want to go any more than 17, 20. Yeah, because you definitely don't want to be rewarding Parish at this point, do you? But apologies about that, Dean, and thank you for pulling me up on it, mate. Really sorry I missed it initially. Chad said Frimpong can move up when Salah is gone, can't he? Yes, certainly. Frimpong has been spoken about as probably the most likely option on the right-hand side. But like others have said, Dom could do a job there. Gakpo or Rio could go across there. CHIESA could step up there in non-Champions League games when Mo's away. And thanks, Dean. Again, like I hate missing someone's super chat, so please never feel bad about giving me a nudge if I've missed it. Arthur said, think we see Leone get some game time versus Burnley? I would say probably more likely to get the game time against Southampton. That feels like a really good game to give him at least a 90 in. Maybe he gets minutes against Burnley. That's absolutely possible. Then comes the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. So let's wait and see. I just think we're going to see him get that nod in Southampton. Leone will probably play. If Dan's is back fit at that point, maybe he'll get some minutes. Ngamoa will probably get a game then. So this will be, because it's a high-level opponent as well. Like Southampton it's a pretty good fixture for us to get. The fact it's a home definitely helps. But it's not a throwaway game where you could say, right, let's just throw out any old team. Because Southampton are a decent side, got relegated, but they're a bit of a yo-yo club. But they've always got decent technicians and decent players. So I'm really excited by that game in the League Cup. And I can't wait to see if we do get a full 90 out of Rio, or if we see the likes of Leone get a start. Because I want to see him on the pitch. I haven't seen him yet in a Liverpool jersey out there playing. Is Leone in our Champions League squad? Let me just run back through it for you, mate, just in case anybody's coming in late and they haven't seen the squad. Let me just scroll all the way back. Right, so Liverpool's Champions League squad is as follows, and yes is the short answer. Alisson, Mamardashvili, Woodman, Gomez, Endo, Van Dijk, Kanade, Kirkes, Bradley, Leone, Robertson, Frimpong, Wirtz, Soboslai, McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, Isak, Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, and Gamoa. And then the B list is Neoni and Dan's. And again, just to reiterate, each team can have a maximum of 25 players in their main A-list squad, which includes a minimum of 8 places reserved exclusively for what UEFA deems as locally trained or homegrown players, players trained by their club or another club in the same national association for at least 3 years between the ages of 15 and 21. Liverpool have chosen a squad of 22 players, so obviously we've got the B list there as well. So that is where we're at with that one. Jamie Carragher said, Liverpool have revelled in an underdog mentality against wealthier rivals, but that dynamic has just changed dramatically, in a piece that he wrote for The Telegraph. So again, I think a lot of people will be looking at the headline of what Liverpool spent this summer, the 400 and something million. But it is important that we point out what Liverpool saved as well and brought back in. So net spend wise, we're behind Arsenal in this summer's transfer window. So it's important that we talk about that, because yes, we've also cut our cloth accordingly, haven't had 2 miserly windows before that. Where is this one? Lolly, I think I missed your one here as well. You said, hi Craig, wouldn't be Virgil and Dom be fab fullbacks? I don't want Virgil as a fullback, Lolly, no. I'd rather have him in the centre, thanks. I don't think he's fast enough really to be a fullback in our system. Where was the other one? Somebody said I missed their super chat as well, so I'm going back to try and find it. What's the B list? 1 second, Mark. Oh, too many questions. Bear with me 1 second. I'll read you what the B list is in 1 second. Where's James Morrison's one that I missed? Sorry, James. I'm scrolling through trying to find your one, sir. There it is. Here we go. So, James asked, hiya mate, who do you think will be our standout player in the Champions League, and do you think we could use Andy Robertson at centre-back for a rotational option? So, who do I think will be the standout player? I'm going to say Florian Wirtz. I'm going to say this is the competition that he really sets up in. So, yeah, I'm going to say Wirtz for that one. And I don't want Robbo at centre-back. I know he's played there at Scotland, but I think it's in a back 3. I don't like the idea of him at centre back, but at a push, I don't know. I'd still rather somebody that's a proper centre back like Nallo. If we're having to play Robbo at centre back, I think we've got a bit of a problem. And sorry, I'm missing that one. And Lollies as well. I think I missed that one earlier on, like I mentioned. So apologies to you two gents. This one. Did Rio get his new contract? Said Paul Badley. I don't think he's signed it yet, but he did turn 17 last week, and it was always thought that it would be signed this month at some point, but I don't see it having been announced just yet, mate. And on the B list thing that I promised I'd get back to. So, where is it? No, it doesn't actually say in this what the B list is. B list is underage players. That's at your academy, I believe. 1 sec. So what have we got on the B list here? So we've got Dan's and Leone. So B list. What's the B list? I can't actually find a definition of the B list at this particular second, but I will adhere to find it for you. Mark's writing something, so he's probably typing me out the answer. And Giannis, I haven't missed your super chat. It's literally the next one on my list. So I also have to get through all the super chats as well, folks. So no problem if I missed one from half an hour ago. But Giannis, yours is less than 10 minutes old. So bear with me a second, dude, till I get to it. It was the next one on my list. Imagine Dom is the right back who wins the Ballon d'Or. I don't think any right backs are winning Ballon d'Ors. Even if it was Trent's dream, I don't think it was happening. Whether he's at Liverpool or at Real Madrid. Right, so we asked who would be your starting right back, and we've had over 2,000 votes on it, and Frimpong wins by 7%. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. So Frimpong 43%, Dominic Szoboszlai 36%, Conor Bradley 19%. Ouch. Yeah, I don't know. Bradley, that's a bit disrespecting. Conor Bradley, who's a natural right back. I think once we see Bradley getting more game time again, people will remember how good and tenacious he is. Oh, you meant Lolly, wouldn't Virgil and Dom be good centre backs? Again, no, I don't think Dom would be good enough aerially, Lolly, to play that position. Right, so a player may be registered on List B if he is born on or after January the 1st, 2004 and has been eligible to play for the club concerned for any uninterrupted period of 2 years since their 15th birthday, or for a total of 3 consecutive years without a minimum loan period to a club from the same association for a period not longer than 1 year. Players aged 16 may be submitted if they have been registered with the club for the previous 2 years. So yeah, B-list player has to be born on or after the 1st of January 2004 and been eligible to play for the club concerned for an uninterrupted period of 2 years since 15th birthday. Thank you, Mark, for that one. Appreciate you. Where was I at now? So I want to make sure I don't miss any more. Giannis. This one, Adam. Is there likely to be an Isak signing day vlog? I hope so. I was looking for it, Adam, because I love them. CHIESA's one has still been my favourite to date. His signing day vlog, I've never seen somebody look that happy before signing for any football club. He just looked like he was loving every minute of it. So I hope there is one because I want to watch it. Charlie said, I'm going to sound stupid, but what does the B list mean? So I'm sure you probably heard me read it out there, but I'm happy to do it again for you, sir. So, in addition to the normal list, the B list will be submitted on the night preceding each match throughout the competition, which will see our squad boosted with under 21 players. A player may be registered on the B list if he is born on or after January the 1st, 2004 and has been eligible to play for the club concerned for any uninterrupted period of 2 years since his 15th birthday, or a total of 3 consecutive years with a maximum of 1 loan period to another club in the same association. So there we go. And thank you again, Mark, for that one. Colin said CHIESA may get UK Cup game runs now. Definitely. And hopefully some more Prem games as well. Because we know he knows where the goal is, Federico. Right, Itachi said, it still sounds so weird to have Isak on our squad. Isak in our Champions League squad. Am I dreaming? It's nuts. And the amount of people I know who've bought Isak shirts immediately. Connor got one. A couple more mates of mine got them. Everybody seems to be treating themselves to an Isak shirt. I'm hanging off for the green jersey to get myself some more Liverpool goodies. Did you see they released a range of new baseball hats and stuff today as well on the app? VI Joker said, quick poll, how many goals will Isak get this season? I just don't have time for it now, unfortunately, mate. I'm about to finish up and record the update video, but remind me next time, VI Jokers, and I will happily do it for you, sir. How much is Gomez as Gay comes in? How much is he? Well, we were selling him to Milan for 13 million, according to the Team Talk piece anyway. I don't know how much do you mean. How much game time does he get if Gay comes in? I guess that could come down to injuries. Macy Pappy. Removing Dom from the 8th position. Not enough legs and physique in midfield as a whole. Removing Dom from the 10th position, same as above, and losing the insane press. Wirtz brings the press, to be fair, so you could see that. But I say what you say, mate. I love it. I love the idea of Dom being back into midfield as well. I just want Dom on the pitch because I think he's been our best player so far this season. But good points that you've made, and especially on the press as well. He's insane with that press. Stephen said, thanks for the answers. I love your channel. Watch you every day. Really, really do appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you, sir. Much love to you as well over in the States, and I hope you continue to enjoy the channel. Turkey bagels and AA, my night routine now. Nice. A turkey bagel. Never tried one of them. But I do love a bagel, especially a poppy seed one, Alex. And thank you very much. Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to go record an update video, which has a few bits we haven't gone through tonight as well. And tomorrow will be my last live stream for a few days. So I hope you can join us tomorrow night. I'm going to be live at 8:45, but then I'm going to be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because, well, I need to take a few days to catch up on sleep and a few other bits and pieces while the channel's a bit quiet. So again, thank you to everyone that came in tonight. Appreciate your support. Do drop a like if you can. We're at 919, so we're nearly at 1,000. If you can hit that like button, that would make a big difference. And lastly, Lord Astro Waffle said, imagine Bradley pissed at being third place right back. Yeah, I'd say he probably would have been as well if we looked at it. But maybe he'll use it as fuel to say, you know what, I want to cement my place back there. Because I really rate Conor Bradley. I really think he's a brilliant fullback. But I'm biased because he's also Irish. So, look, ladies and gents, hit that like button from me before you head off. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Much love. Bye.